Hello world! Today we're going to talk about how the Democrats lost the first Democratic debate. Hi, my name is Leah Neal, a horror sci-fi author. My novella, The Cyto Trigger, is available on the Amazon bookstore, link below. First, I have to admit that I am old, so I'm very forgetful. But then again, how memorable was the 2020 Democratic debates to you? At the time of writing, it hasn't been 24 hours since the debate, and I'm already having trouble remembering who said what. Much was said, but little was the substance. Everyone was just rehashing what had already been said in 2016, beating the same old drum that they had when we lost to Trump. Are we going to seriously win in 2020 like this? On top of that, the similarity between the last Republican primary and the current Democratic primary is uncanny. How is the Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden not another Jeb Bush? Well, he's not. Not because he is better than Jeb. No, it's because there is no Trump in the 2020 Democratic primary. Just imagine if Trump were on the stage in the Democratic debate. I can guarantee you that Trump would steal the show. I mean, I really don't see any candidate that could beat Trump at the moment. For those who lacks the imagination or has unshakable faith in their candidate, in reality, none of the candidates in the 2020 Democratic debates were any better than Hillary Clinton. Now, the current candidate might be less disliked than Hillary, which is advantageous, but Trump didn't have 4 years to warm up to the populace in 2016. So being less disliked is just a prerequisite to oust Trump, but it's insufficient. So do not think for a second that replacing Hillary with a more likable candidate but using the same rhetoric and tactic will mean an automatic win. The economy is doing good for the majority of Americans, which means that there will be resistance to change and movement towards conservatism. Therefore, the more radical the policy proposals are, the bigger the backlash would be. And as much as I'd like to hear socialist policies brought up on stage, I don't see how that could ever win over the majority of Americans. Just think about all the conservative counters to the position brought up in the debates. Milton Friedman had mentioned that you can either have a big social program and limited immigration or unlimited immigration and no social program, but you can't have both without wrecking the economy. Though spoken more than 3 decades ago, this still rings true today. And free colleges only benefit top 1/3 of Americans, and Medicare for all as proposed is no different than AC-8, the Affordable Care Act. Green New Deal is unattainable in the timeline without any incentives. As a staunch socialist, I am extremely aware of where socialism fails, and if all the proposals made by the candidates were to come true, we will be heading for a failed state. This is the wrong approach to socialism, and these candidates are fools. But of course, everyone who watched my videos knows that I am a supporter of Andrew Yang, and I hope he learned an important lesson from the debate, that socialists likes to silence opposition. Even though I think silencing opposition is outdated, but the mainstream media is an old institution. Nevertheless, I am outraged by the way he was treated in the debate, though I don't blame the DNC, it's just who they are. But Yang, even with his mic turned off, has to perform. He has to represent the people that supported him. He is not alone, but standing on the shoulders of thousands of people. If he couldn't shout to make his voice heard now, then he wouldn't be heard when he is standing against Trump. It hurts for me to say that I can literally see the frustration on Andrew Yang's face during the debate. And I sympathize with him. But if Andrew Yang can turn his frustration into anger and show the world his conviction through his voice or action, then there's no hope for him. Again, Andrew Yang, you are standing on the shoulders of tens of thousands of your supporters, and you have to make our voices heard. If you can't do it now, how could you make millions of Americans' voices heard across the world? So before the second debate in September, I want to see a change in your demeanor, Andrew Yang. I want to see you bring the hammer down on the DNC, grab your mic or somebody else's, and make our voices heard. And that's my rant. Thank you for listening, and that's all, world.